finger on the pulse of Israeli political and defense forces, Israeli Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohen. Aaron, okay, we are now just learning also of a new wave of Iranian missile attacks on Israel. This, according, again, take it for what it's worth because it's coming from Iranian state TV, but this thing is far from over, correct?
We're not far from over, Liz. I'll tell you where I'm at with all this. The strike today, the strike that you just saw on the on Iran's television studio, their state-run media propaganda machine, wasn't reactive. That's a revolutionary hit right there. And Israel waited till they were on the air, and the reason why is because there's a big psychological piece here.
Yeah.
Israel picked the moment Iran thought it had the upper hand, let them get on TV and start squawking, and then launched a coordinated intelligence-driven takedown of that station. The IDF, just so you're clear, has wiped out a third of Iran's missile capacity in less than 72 hours. This is years in the making, Liz. Mossad teams already operating inside the wire, as we saw in that incredible operation, pre-positioned, intelligence gathering, mapping targets. This is what Israel does best. Intel-driven, preemptive strikes. Nobody does this better than us.
And as you said, psychological, we're showing this video where the female broadcaster is reporting live and the bomb hits. She appears to be okay, but man, the background, the backdrop goes out and you got pieces of the ceiling coming down. Psychologically, what has Israel's wiping out of the top echelon of Iranian leadership done? Because in a way, you've got a lot of Iranians who have been praying for this moment, correct?
That's right. So here's how I frame it. Israel isn't just fighting a war with Iran. What they're doing right now, Liz, is they're redrawing the entire map of the Middle East. So there's going to be more of these deep strikes. There's going to be more psychological operations, which is a huge piece here. More monster moves that turn Tehran inward. Liz, we're going to play the paranoia game to fracture them and keep driving that fear. And so this is about reshaping who holds the power in the region, proving that Iran's little axis of resistance and their chest beating to Europe can be dismantled within days. And that's how quick this is moving.
So what do you think? Because sometimes when there is a void left, and let's just say the Iranian leadership skedaddles and jumps on a boat and ends up in somewhere else, right? And says, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Religious tolerance, will that come? Political moderation, take these people into the modern world?
Well, it's a good question. I think it's time for a regime change. I think it's time for the Iranian people to step up. There's a lot at stake here. It's more than just missiles. It's who sets the rules in the region. The problem with the regime, and they might come to the table. Israel will not stop systematically thumping Iran. Liz, we're inside their head. We're behind the wire. We're playing with the Iranians at this point right now. It's almost a joke, even though Israel has got some defense they have to play, and we're doing our best to be able to protect from hundreds of missiles being launched. The region is about to see, I believe, a monster paradigm shift. And if Israel keeps doing what it's doing, which it is, targeting surgical, hitting the IRGC where it hurts, and exposing all the vulnerabilities, I'm hoping that's going to make the Iranian people see that the big bad IRGC is weak. They're vulnerable. It's time to stand up and rise. And I think that's what could potentially end up happening here. So my fingers are crossed and I'm pulling for them because the Iranian people deserve better. And I'd like to say something to them, Liz. Mardom Iran, in regime shoma ra garukan gerefte. Vakht azad ast, ma ba shoma hastim. To the people of Iran, the regime has held you hostage, and it is time for your freedom. Israel stands with you. It's time to stand up.
Aaron, why, and we know the answer, but I'm going to ask you, why has Israel largely left Iran's oil operations alone, like Karg Island, where so much of the oil is sitting there like a sitting duck, they could easily go after that. Is that simply because they don't want to stabilize the world? And there's also this worrisome question about the Strait of Hormuz. Iran could still do something there. They control part of those waters. They could, who knows, sink a ship there and block the Strait of Hormuz. That is an important choke point through which 80% of the region's oil travels.
It's a good question, Liz. I think it may have something to do with the fact that those oil fields are co-owned by various partners, including the United States. I think it's a lot of elements that have ownership stake in that oil. I don't think Israel wants to completely decapitate the oil and the markets shifting throughout the world. And so I think they're trying to be careful. But at the same time, there's other pieces here too, Liz. And I think, look, there's Saudi normalization. I know that that's something that you spoke about in your intro. And they're watching what's happening. And everyone feared that strong Iran. And right now, Israel's doing what even the Americans haven't, which is breaking that regime's power projection in real time. And that's what's really going to shoot the markets up and stabilize the world. And I'm not an economy guy, but that earns quiet respect. And if Israel stays focused and avoids dragging the region into chaos by hitting those fields, I think that it might accelerate those markets. And at the end of the day, it's just about doing what needs to be done to create that paradigm shift, to show the Middle East, hey, it's time to get on board with the Abrams Accord. It's time to get on board with Israel. Yeah. Iran, we're putting them down for you guys. Let's keep this thing moving. But the big bad wolf has now been tamed.
Well, let's not forget how important this is to the United States as well. For decades, Iran's proxies, particularly in Lebanon, back in the 80s, when they killed hundreds of Marines, what's going on, obviously, in the Gaza Strip and, of course, the Golan Heights, it's always been this massive agitation. And I think that at some point, it might gel and it might come to fruition that these civilians in all those regions who would love to see peace, I believe, would actually achieve it. In the end, though, Iran is twice the size of Texas and Israel is tiny, like the size of New Jersey. Do you ever get concerned that Israel might run low on manpower? I mean, we've seen the Iron Dome let a few of these missiles in, not intentionally, obviously, but they've been overwhelmed at certain points. How long can they keep up?
It's a good question. You're talking about Israel's weapons capacity. Now, I can tell you this without getting into too much detail. I'd say Israel's used less than 10% of their capacities. Their capacity of F-35s, drone swarms, long-range guided munitions. But don't forget, we weaponize cyber attacks. And this is asymmetrical warfare, Liz, at scale. And so what makes Israel really be able to be lethal over a long period of time is their speed and their intel at human level and the devotion and the creativeness of the Israelis. And so the will is there, the weapons are there, and they're inside Iran's systems, Liz, and they're inside Iran's territory again. And more importantly, they're inside their head. And the fear of being killed by Israel is worse than being killed by Israel, I promise.
Well, Aaron, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much for coming. I know it has been incredibly busy for you. We do have this news that there have been a combined, according to Iranian state TV, combined drone and missile operations targeting Tel Aviv and Haifa. We're waiting for confirmation from Israel regarding that. We will keep our viewers posted.